welcome to the Real Talk Sports Show. I'm your host, the Minister Jonathan Simmons. We welcome you to the Motivated Man Cave. We are here broadcasting to you live on multiple platforms. First of all, we're going to give a big shout out to all those who are watching us on Facebook Live, YouTube Live, for the first time, Twitch, and on Periscope. Thank you so much, Periscope watchers. We appreciate you for tuning in and watching us right now. We also want to give a big shout out to all those who are actually listening to the broadcast on WIGO AM 1570, Atlanta's incredible radio. We appreciate you, and we thank God for you, and we are excited to be here again on another live broadcast here on WIGO. Also, again, on Periscope. We hopefully we can get the Periscope folks up here and see what they're doing. We're excited to, like I said, be on all these different platforms, and we're excited that we are on the air right now, and so we're very, very excited that we are broadcasting to you again on WIGO AM 1570, Atlanta's incredible radio. Big shout out to the man behind the screen, Brother Eli Smith. Well, the question is today, what should we talk about today? We're going to have kind of an open mic. We're going to start everything off with kind of really just talking sports, the culture. You know, we had some boxing events. We got some challenges. It looks like Floyd Money Mayweather is back in the situation. Look like he's going to try to, win one for the culture, so to speak. So, we're going to talk a little bit about that. We'll talk about some NBA basketball. What are the Hawks going to do? What's happening with the NBA? Believe it or not, guys, the NBA starts in just about 2 weeks. It's going to jump off here December 22nd. And, because they got to get that money. So I want to see what you guys say. Let's go to social media where as well. Yep, we know that we are on the air on WIGO 1570. And we thank God again for everybody who is listening to that and also listening on WIGOAM.com. Again, we got mad props out to you, and we appreciate all those of you who are watching and listening to us right now. And so like I say, again, lots of sports to talk about. What do you want to talk about? Do you want to talk about the Falcons? We're going to do that probably in the later part of the broadcast around 8:45. You want to talk some college football? Okay, who do you think is going to be in the college football playoffs? You want to talk about that? Whatever you want to talk about. It's an open mic situation. For those of you who are watching us here, I'm going to pop that again right up on the screen here. We're going to have an open mic for those of you who are watching us here. We're going to, it's open mic for you. So you can jump right in here. I'm actually going to put the link for the show on social media. So actually we have the opportunity to bring in up to 9 people here on the broadcast that you guys can jump in and watch with us and have a good time. So like I said, again, if you want to do it, no problem. Like I said, again, I'm going to go ahead and put the link up here. Let me go ahead and put the link up right quick so you guys can see it on social media. And what will happen is if you say, well, hey, I just rather call in, no problem. Here's what you can do. Call into the broadcast via using this link. And what you can do is just say, it's going to ask you, do you want to have the video going? No video. And just go ahead and mic only. And what will happen is we can hear you, but we won't see you. So you don't have to worry about a situation where if your hair is nappy, you know what I mean? Or if your weave is kind of off to the left or to the right, you don't have to worry about that. None of that. You're good to go because you'll be able to just, again, jump right onto the broadcast and people will hear you and we'll just have your avatar. And that's it. So again, let me go ahead and put the link onto social media so you might see it. We're going to pop the link up here right now. And that is the link if you want to join us here. And I'm actually going to put it up on the screen again so you guys can see us. Let's go ahead and hit it. Bam. That's the link right there. You can join us. Those of you watching us on Twitch for the first time, you can jump on in here, hit it up. We'll be able to hear you loud and clear, no problem. All right, so let's do the doggone thing. Come on in and jump in with us, man. Let's have a good time here on the Real Talk Sports Show. Well, like I say, again, there's been a lot going on in the world of sports. We've had, memes. Poor Nate Robinson last week got knocked out cold. Now I got everybody and their brother making memes on that. So we're going to talk a little bit about that and talk about the fact that Mayweather, Lord have mercy. Floyd Mayweather has challenged my man's brother. I guess he's going to try to hold one up for the culture. You can jump in here and talk to us about that. You also can talk to us about anything else you want. It's like open mic. You want to even get into off the pale. You want to talk about crazy things going on in the world of sports in terms of relationships, entertainment. I don't care. You can break it out and get into it here because we're going to open up the forum for you. Speaking of open up the forum, here's a guy that talks about pop culture, talks about sports. He knows it all. He's the guy behind the scenes of popculture.com, one of their premier writers. The one and only Brian Jones is in the building. Brian, welcome back, sir.
Always a pleasure to be back. Thank you so much for having me on.
Hey, man, listen, like I say again, absolute pleasure to have you on. Always good times, good fun. And always, man, it's crazy, this intersection between like pop culture and sports, it seems like there's always some type of link going on. I don't get it.
Yeah, you're right. I think when it comes down to it, sports, for what we do, it's pretty much trending news and entertainment, and obviously, sports plays a big role when it comes to entertaining entertainment. So, yeah, there's always really something going on in terms of how sports news intertwines with pop culture. So, it's never really a slow moment here.
Nope, not at all, not at all. And speaking of that, so tell us a little bit about here. I've been hearing some rumors that after the brutal and savage knockout of Nate Robinson, that one punch special, it does appear that Floyd Mayweather now he's going to try to get an exhibition. I guess everybody now wants to have an exhibition now that Mike Tyson and like I said again, the big Nate Robinson knockout. Do you have any updates on kind of what's going on out there in the world of boxing?
Yeah, it looks like Mayweather is going to face Logan Paul, I believe, and that's going to be sometime maybe in February. Uh, Mayweather has teased about returning to the ring in some capacity. He's even talked to UFC President Dana White about getting something done there. So it's no surprise that he's making not really like a big return, kind of like it's just kind of like similar to what Mike Tyson's doing. And I think because of what Logan Paul did to Nate Robinson, and so many other athletes and celebrities are coming out to challenge Logan Paul. I think Mayweather wants to get into the mix as well. So it should be interesting to see what happens. I think if the fight does happen, which I think it will, Mayweather will win that pretty easily. But I think it would be good to see him back in the ring. I think as I mentioned, he talked about returning to the ring in some capacity. And even though many wouldn't believe that Logan Paul would be his next opponent, I think it makes the most sense based on what he's done for the sport of boxing, and him and his brother, really training to become legitimate boxers. So it should be interesting to see what happens.
Well, no doubt, yeah. So I'm kind of interested as well. Like I said, everybody now is going to get into this whole exhibition thing. I think that the nation, once again, is somewhat energized with boxing. It's just amazing how one personality, even though we're talking a guy that's 54 years old in an exhibition, the whole idea of Mike Tyson being back in the ring just because of his ferocity when he was in the ring originally, and then even coming out in this fight against Roy Jones, we saw flashes of what we saw 30 years ago, man. I just think people are energized to see some boxing. And it's interesting, Brian. I tell you, I actually was involved when I was at a dealership, being involved with sponsoring an exhibition. It's really kind of cool. We had the whole weigh-in thing, and we actually did it, believe it or not, at the Tabernacle in downtown Atlanta. So how cool would it be if we could have something like that again here in Atlanta?
Oh, that would be awesome. I think if they're able to host a big event, like I think with Tyson and Roy Jones Jr., they had that in the Staples Center. If you're able to, I think because of Atlanta being really good at hosting sporting events, big sporting events, you could have something at State Farm Arena to where you could have possibly Tyson or Mayweather in the exhibition match. Tyson and possibly Holyfield. Vander Holyfield has talked about getting back to the ring, and he wants to face Tyson. And he's pretty much said that fight is in the works of happening sometime next year. So that would make perfect sense. Evander Holyfield, a guy from Atlanta, who's won the heavyweight championship 4 times, takes on Tyson, part three. So hopefully they can get that done, and hopefully it could be in Atlanta.
Yeah, man, that would be kind of crazy. The ear biting session, part three. We'll call it the snack attack. I don't know what you want to call it, but yeah, it would
Yeah.
be interesting to kind of have those guys back in the ring. And really, I would like to try to see, hopefully, some up and comers. Don't be wrong. I'm not taking anything away from UFC, man. I mean, those fights are just legendary. The sheer brutality of them is just off the chain. But I would like, I guess, because of my age, I'm more of an old school boxing guy. Grew up obviously watching, what many people feel is the greatest, Muhammad Ali. Saw some of the great fighters of all time: Roberto Duran, Sugar Ray Leonard, Thomas Hearns, Marvin Hagler. I mean, this is kind of the era I grew up in, and so I missed those big time title bouts. I mean, even later on with Tyson and Evander Holyfield and all these guys, man, I kind of missed that because the guys they got now, man. Speaking of Tyson, there is one guy though, Tyson Fury though. He kind of got that energy as well, man. That guy's kind of brutal himself.
Yeah, Tyson Fury is a guy that has kind of crossed over to boxing into the mainstream. I know he um, did has appeared in WWE. I think he's the one guy that even the average fair weather boxing fan knows because of the accomplishments he has made. I think boxing now is just a lot different from what it was, 20, 30, 40 years ago, with these, especially in the heavyweight division where the heavyweight fight was a main attraction. And
Right.
people spend, $50 to $60, even more than that, on a pay-per-view to watch a main event weight championship fight. And I think just because of everything in terms of how whether it's combat sports has evolved over the years, you just don't see that anymore. I think UFC and mixed martial arts has grown a lot in the past 20 to 25 years. And I think because of that, you just don't see that with boxing anymore. You don't have those main attractions like you did in the 80s or the 90s with Tyson, Holyfield, Lennox Lewis, those guys, and even in the smaller divisions as well. So um, I would like for it to come back. I think you're seeing a little bit of that now with, again, these exhibition fights. So we'll see what happens in the next year and the next couple of years to see if they're able to continue that momentum.
Yeah, man, I'm looking forward to it. 'Cause like I said again, I kind of miss those spectacles of being able to go. Like, so when we had the exhibition here, it was off the chain, man. Because I felt like, I watching those old clips when they have them in Vegas. I was all suited and booted, came in. We had the front seats in the ringside because we were one of the sponsors. And like you said, man, just the whole fanfare, the ring girls, and just the savagery of the fight. The guy that fought was it was Raheem, and I can't think of it now. Anyway, he was I think at that time, a lightweight champion. He fought Expedition, fought some guy at Podunk, Georgia. I remember this guy talking at the ring at the weigh-in, talking all this junk. I was watching this flabby, and I'm not making a racial thing, this flabby white guy from Podunk, Georgia. I said to myself, man, this
Right.
is gonna be a bad situation. And Brian, when I tell you, we were at ringside, and I could hear the body punch. I could hear. And then after a while, Nahir knocked him out. I think it was the second round, but it was just the excitement of being there at a live pro fight, man. There's just nothing like it.
Yeah, I bet. And for me, I never actually, I don't think have been to an actual pro boxing fight. It's something that I've always wanted to attend, something that I was interested in. I think also when you look at boxing, just the landscape of it, I think is not the reason why it's not as popular. I believe it's not as popular as it once was. Is just because I think whether it's you know young adults or kids growing up, they probably look at boxing a lot different now than what it was 30 years ago. They probably don't want to get hit in the head constantly. And I think, and, and the thing is, mixed martial arts is kind of the same way. There's a little bit of boxing, a little bit of karate, it has a little bit of everything. But I also think that MMA, there's probably not as much striking as there is with boxing. For boxing, you're pretty much striking for 3 minutes around on the professional level, 3 minutes around for 12 rounds. I mean, that's a lot. That's a lot of punishment on your body. And you see what it's done to these older boxers after years and years after they retire. So I think that's also what plays into it. But I would like for boxing to come back. I would love for it to see the heavyweight division be like what it was 30 years ago. I just don't think that will happen anytime soon.
Oh yeah, man, it's definitely gonna be hard to do it. But like I said, we look forward to it, man. We hope that we can see it. We'd love to see the resurgence of boxing. Love to really hopefully get this COVID sooner rather than later, because that's obviously gonna have a big pack on anybody. It's hard to believe, Brian. Believe it or not, very soon we're gonna be looking at Super Bowl 55 is around the corner, and we'll make an announcement about that about the Real Talk Sports Show. But I can't believe that February is going to be here in just another couple of months. Where even though that we still got a few more games left in the NFL, that's going on. College football playoff, the championship, SEC championship coming up on the 19th. So man, it's like all the big events are happening, and you kind of wonder, what the impact of COVID is going to be in terms of number of fans and in terms of all the hoopla. Because they have a lot of stuff that goes on before at the fan festivals.
Yeah, that was something I've been thinking about as it gets closer to the Super Bowl weekend. You're seeing teams as the season winds down. I know the Packers have talked about hosting fans, but they just announced that it's just going to be, when it comes to fans, it's just going to be family members and employees that able to attend games at Lambeau Field. Teams have made the decision to not have fans at all. The Falcons have a limited number of fans, and then the Cowboys have 20 to 30,000 fans. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens at Raymond James Stadium. To see how much they have. I think they will have fans. It's just a matter of at what capacity. And then also you got to look at Super Bowl weekend. I've attended Super Bowl weekend when it was here in Atlanta. That's a full week affair, just packed with people at the Georgia World Congress Center, going to different events, going to different concerts. I don't know if you'll have anything like that, but I think the NFL wants to do something to celebrate Super Bowl weekend. So you could see a minimum amount of things. And it's a couple months from now. So maybe in terms of the COVID-19 cases across the country, you would hope that they would drop and not continue to increase as we seen recently. So I'm going to be really intrigued, and not just the Super Bowl, just the college football playoff, the NFL playoffs, if they'll have fans as well. With the World Series, they had a limited number of fans, and turned out to work really well for them. So I think for the NFL and the Super Bowl, there will be, I think, some fans in the stands. I don't know at what capacity, but I would say maybe like 20 to 30%.
No doubt. I think if it's ever been Scalper's Delight, it's going to be Scalper's Delight this year, because you're right. They're going to minimize that thing to maybe 20% fans, and that's going every VIP and their brother always wants to be at the Super Bowl because it's still a marquee event. So no doubt. I think it's going to be kind of crazy, and we'll see what happens as we get closer. Well, Brian, we like to do before anybody leaves our show, we like to let people know how they can find out more about them, website, all that kind of good stuff. So as always, on the Real Talk Sports Show, Brian Jones, you have the floor. It's yours.
Thank you, sir. I'm the trending sports writer and entertainment writer also for popculture.com. You can find my work at popculture.com/sports, or you can just go to popculture.com. You can also find the latest trending and entertainment news. You can also find me on Twitter. That is at Brian Jones BC. And you can also find me on my podcast, which is called Always Football Season. You can find that wherever you get your podcast. And we also have a Facebook page for Always Football Season, which is facebook.com/Always Football Season.
There you go, boys. Brian Jones in the building. Always got something great going on. We appreciate you, Brian, for joining us. And until the next time, brother, God bless, and we'll see you soon.
God bless. Always a pleasure. Thank you so much for having me on.
Yes, sir. Brian Jones in the building, guys. And, he always brings it to you, that kind of blend of pop culture, what's happening now, kind of good stuff. Speaking of what's happening now, NBA about to jump off here in just about 2 weeks. And if we talk the NBA, we have to bring in the one and only. Well, you have to wait until after the commercial to find out who that is. You're listening to the Real Talk Sports Show. We broadcast to you on every conceivable portal, and especially here in Atlanta on WIGO AM 1570, Atlanta's Incredible Radio. Keep it locked right here for more. Are you in the market for a new vehicle? Well, check out Allen Vigil Ford Lincoln in Morrow, Georgia. We have one of the largest inventories in our area for both new and pre-owned vehicles, so we're sure to have something for everyone. Family owned and operated since 1982, customer satisfaction is our number one priority. Come see our full lineup of vehicles and find the one that best fits you. Give us a call today, 678-726-5739, or shop us 24/7 online at allenvigilford.net. All right, everybody, we are back. You're listening again to the Real Talk Sports Show. I'm your host, Minister Jonathan Simmons, and we thank God again for those of you who are watching and listening to us on every portal. We also want to give a big shout out to those of you watching on the replay, on Periscope. Shout out to those of you watching on Twitch, also on YouTube Live, and of course on Facebook Live. Well, hard to believe that we're going to be talking basketball. Basketball has come up here. I cannot believe that we already are in basketball season. When we start to talk about basketball, we have to bring in a guy that knows more about basketball than anybody I know. One of the great, I guess you want to say, advisors and announcer, but really his thing is he brings his expertise all over the country now. He's been in Detroit, he's been in Atlanta, always bringing his knowledge about what's going on, not only in NBA, but also in college basketball as well. He has his own blog called, I always get this, I got a tongue twister here, Tate's Takes Hoops. The one and only Deshaun Tate is in the building. Sir, welcome back. What's going on?
Thank you so much, Rev, for having me, man. What's going on? I'm almost curious if I should ask you if that's a trick question or not. We got plenty of college basketball. NBA is on its way back. We got high school basketball in the midst of a lot of that. AAU, a little bit of everything is going on right now. So I'm just happy to, be a part of all of it and to see, that we're finally getting back to some action despite the pandemic or the Panda Express or Pandemic or whatever they're calling it nowadays. I'm just happy that we get a chance to get some 94 feet by 50 feet, my brother.
You're right, man. I mean, it's definitely on and popping, man. It's prime time. And so talk to us a little bit first. We'll go NBA first, I guess. Obviously, we have a lot of Hawks fans that tune into this. Big shout out now. We're going to give some of the groups a shout out. Folks at Hawks Nation, folks at Atlanta Hawks, diehard fanatics. Big shout out to the folks at Atlanta Hawks Nation, also at New Pack City. I want to give a big shout out to all those groups that let us post this on their page. We appreciate you so much, and we thank you. So, first of all, let's take a look at our Hawks. They've made massive changes in the offseason, big lineup turnover. What do you think about their possibilities going into the 2020-2021 season?
I mean, it looks good. The future looks bright. I think that we've pretty much heard that already going into last year. Where there was just so much optimism and so forth from that standpoint. So I think the best thing is first things first, outside of the fact that the team did address their needs, which I'm really happy to see that. If I'm a Hawks fan, my expectations are low intentionally. And here's why. Because when your expectations are low, it's hard to get disappointed, if you will. So obviously, if I'm the team, then I have high expectations because I know what I need to do. You got to be good. You got to make playoffs, and love Lloyd Pierce. But this is a business. And if things don't pan out or work out in the way that he really needs them to, then I could imagine that he may not be with us in Atlanta very long. Now, it's not that I know that. I'm not saying I have the inside scoop or to that or anything like that, but I couldn't imagine that would be the case much longer because the expectations now are realistically high for this team to be successful and achieve some great things in the ATL.
Well, no doubt, man. I mean, you have a lineup here. You got some seasoned pros. You got some guys coming into their second and third year that you're anticipating an uptick. And now you're going to hopefully see a full season, 60 games, though it may be, I think, of the dynamic duo that we've all been waiting for. And again, I know a lot of people say it's hyperbole, but I like to call it a poor man's version of Stockton to Malone. And that's, of course, John Collins and the mercurial Trae Young. So there's no doubt, man, that even the players themselves, although they've been kind of down to downplay it, the new guys coming aboard are thinking playoffs are bust, really, at this point.
Yeah, it kind of seems to be about that way. You got to give credit to John with what he's been able to do. I mean, when he came into this league, I was like, I kind of understand why they drafted him because I'm not really sure where else they would have gone with it in comparison to everybody else that was on the board at the time. But I just didn't have high expectations for him at all, like not very much of the least bit. And I wasn't impressed with the pick and seeing what he was able to do his first year, and went to John personally and said, dude, I'm not wrong very often, but I was wrong about you. And I'm human, obviously, but he not only brought the contribution and the production to the team that he needed to in his first year, but he's gotten better. Now going into his fourth year, he's gotten better every single time out. And I think that that's just a testament to how hard he's worked on his game. And obviously with Trae, they want to satisfy Trae. Trae has the keys to the city. And he's been yelling about, getting some help, in the locker room and so forth. And obviously they had to make some decisions to make sure that they can go and do that so that they can secure their guy. And with those two guys, the future is obviously bright. I can't imagine we'll have any more of those 25-game suspension type situations or anything like that. But it's now going to apply a little bit of pressure, a good balance of pressure and opportunity to relax a little bit. If you're Hunter, Reddish, opportunity to relax a little bit because you the expectations for you aren't nearly as high for you to come in and produce, but somebody's got to be the one to come in and do it, especially if these guys want to be returning, because I can't imagine 365 days from now that between Hunter, Herter, and Reddish, that all three of those guys would be on this roster.
And you talk about Reddick. I mean, that's a guy that I think everybody is looking for a huge upside jump this year. He's a guy that came with a lot of fanfare. If you remember at the NBA draft day when they mentioned that he had slid down to number 10 with the Hawks and get him in a place erupted, and he's shown some flashes.
Yeah,
He's shown some flashes, but not enough. I mean, what do you think we need to get out of him this year? Do we think we need to get 12 points, 8 rebounds, 15 points, 5 rebounds? Kind of what do you think is the marker point for him, for people to say, okay, this was a guy that was, worth the draft?
Well, first of all, you got to get double digits in scoring. And he's not the only guy. He was drafted number 10 to the Hawks, but then you got another guy, DeAndre Hunter, who they moved up to go and get at number 4. So somebody's got to come in there and contribute. Somebody's got to come in and do something. Obviously, you did see the flashes of Cam Reddish. And, I've been saying ever since I first laid eyes on Cam Reddish in high school on the AAU circuit that he reminds me of a guy, and I use this comparison relatively often. Some people called Paul George and so forth. I didn't think that was fitting. I thought that, I'm not saying he was going to be this player, but I was always under the impression that Rudy Gay could be Scottie Pippen-ish if he wanted to. He had the tools, he had the size, he had the athleticism, the wingspan, and so forth. But he didn't want to be that. He wanted to be Rudy Gay. Right. And I thought that was one of the biggest things that could potentially be holding back Cam Reddish. Again, we saw flashes this incoming year. The training wheels are off. This isn't going to be about flashes anymore. The flashes are all done and over with. Sometimes Cam Reddish appears to be a little bit too cool for me. Sometimes he plays so cool. Some guys, they play too cool. And to me, that is the perfect description of Cam Reddish. But while we didn't see very much of the Cam Reddish that we needed to see during very much of the year, we definitely saw a little bit more of the Cam Reddish that hopefully we can grow to expect to see during his last 10 games of the season. I really am a believer of that. Obviously, everybody talked about his defense last year. In some cases, I think that people raved about his defense because his offense was just that bad. He really started bringing it along on the second half of the season after the All-Star break, and that's something that we expected. That's something that Trae Young did his first year as well. Right. So we'll see where it goes from there.
I'm going to say something here. The Hawks fans are going to feel some kind of way, but I got to put it out there. So I watched these two guys over the first 2 years. Now, the players play two different positions. Their team setup is different. Their coaching is different. But when I look at Trae Young and I look at Luka Doncic, they're both outstanding players, but Doncic really does look more like a once-in-a-lifetime player than Trae does in so far. And I think some of that's because you talk about Cam Reddish, the ease of his play and his game. Now, with Cam Reddish, it's a laid-back play, but when I look at Doncic, it looks like he can get his points. He can impact the game in so many more ways than Trae, and he seems to do it with less effort because he physically is bigger. Now, I know that's very sacrilegious, fans. I'm not going to, please don't hate me, but I just in watching the two so far, I'm just saying.
Yeah, you're talking to one of the guys who said, if it was me, I'd definitely take Trae Young over Luka Doncic, and still to this day, without seeing exactly who they are now on this level, I still would have said the same thing. And I'm honestly biased to American basketball more than I am the international game. One thing that I think is helping out Luka Doncic is, and there's a couple things here, Rev. One of them is the fact that this game is starting to trend towards or in the direction of the way that that they play it internationally. Right. So I think that helps them. And as much as we talk about players that are successful, that come from overseas, we don't talk nearly enough about those who are unsuccessful that come from overseas. There's always at least one big name that's always brought up around the time of the draft. And so, and anyway, Luka is a bigger guy, but I can't tell you that, sure, he's maybe better on defense, I guess, which ain't really saying much than Trey. But for his size, he doesn't look like he's much better defensively. Is it a matter of Trey is not as easy to hide on defense than maybe Luka is? I don't know. That's a Lloyd Pierce versus Rick Carlisle kind of conversation or comparison. I don't know in terms of their strategy and how they go about doing it. But, Trey jumped up pretty good from his first year in the league to his second year in the league as well. It wasn't just Luka. And while Luka definitely does look like he appears to be probably the best player in the NBA within the next, I don't know what 365 times 2 or 3 is, but I would imagine it's somewhere between 700 to over 1,200 days. I will say this much. I'll tell you this much, though, Rev, real quick. Just because Luka Doncic looks like this doesn't mean that Trey Young looks like this. I'm not saying that you're saying it. I'm not saying it. I'm not saying that you're saying that.
Right.
But what I do want to do is I want to educate the people who are thinking that.
Right.
The reason, because one made the playoffs, one didn't, and so forth, and that's besides the point. But I want to make sure that I throw this out there. There's a thing called the NFL draft, and in the same draft is where you had Patrick Mahomes and you had Deshaun Watson. Okay,
right.
Now, just because the Texans decided to take Watson and not Mahomes, where now Mahomes looks like he's clearly the better choice, that doesn't make Deshaun Watson look like poop. You know what I'm saying? It just means that he's not this guy, but he doesn't look bad. So that's kind of why I give that comparison a little bit. Neither one of these guys are looking like Mitch Trubisky, if you know what I'm saying. I don't use very many football references, Rev,
but that's just
Deshaun,
one. That was on point. Give you that dude the thumbs up on that. Hey, let's take a peek at social media here real quick. Let's go here to social media, and we got our friend, the offensive coordinator. He actually is one of our premier sponsors for high school football. We're going to have an award ceremony at some point so we get this COVID under control. He's with DNK Suit City, and they're actually making a presentation for player of the month and also coach of the year as well. This is what he says. Both of them are very competitive, but day in, day out, it seems like Luka plays with a chip on his shoulder and backs it up. So what are your comments on that there, Deshaun?
I mean, I think both guys are playing with a chip on their shoulder, without question. I mean, I know Trey, we're not best friends or by any means, but I know him more than I do Luka, a little bit more on the personal side and the family and so forth. So I've been around Trey, obviously, longer and just watching him since he was in high school and so forth. And while I am an advocate for Trey, the reality is that Luka's can't use that word on the Rev show, but a very, very good – I just want to keep it. I want to keep it clean for the Red.
We can leave it like that. He's a bad man.
He's a bad man. So, and I think that they're both playing with chips on their shoulder, to be honest. And even though I know that they may not necessarily love it because they're really good friends, the reality is that they're going to be tied forever because of the draft and whatever else, what have you. But the things you see Luka doing, sure, I understand it. I overstand it. I get it. Trey is no slouch, man. Trey is going to be doing very good things in this league for a very, very long time.
No doubt. So that's going to be our big thing, watching these two guys go. Always going to be a pleasure to see the Mavericks when they come to town. These two guys are actually friends. There's no animosity between them. They're friendly competition. So it should be good to see. Well, listen, before you sign off, every time I have another guest, we always like to do a little kumbaya before we go. I got a guy that's sitting here in the green room, knows his way around college football, especially the ACC, and especially our Yellow Jackets, the one and only Rod McKenzie in the wings. Rod, what's up, buddy?
Hey, I'm doing great. Hey, it's good to see you, Deshaun. How you doing?
Good to see you, my brother. It's been way too long, that's for sure.
I'm telling you, you need to come down to some basketball games.
I know. You got to tell those guys to let me into some games. Tell them I got a really awesome platform and tell them to get me in some of them games so I can give some good content.
I'm with you on that one. We'll have to talk to Moose.
Right. Get him on in there. Well, listen, you know how we do, Deshaun? Anytime somebody has to check off of the program, we always like to make sure they let people know how they can find out more about them, social media, websites. You know how we do it here on the Real Talk Sports Show. The floor is yours.
I want to say this.
You can find us at gojackets.com, part of the 247 network. And, we we cover everything at Georgia Tech.
Well, Rod, fortunately, you're not gone yet, so we're going to let Deshaun jump in here because he has to go and we have to go to a break. Deshaun, tell people how they can find out more about you. The floor is yours.
No doubt. Thanks for sharing this platform and this space with me, man. And obviously good to see Rod there. It's been way too long. Hopefully we can do it again. At Tate's Take Hoops on Twitter, all social media accounts, TATESTAKEHOOPS, hashtag where basketball lives. Find Tate's Take the podcast anywhere that you find your favorite podcast. That's iTunes, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Red Circle, Stitcher, and streaming live for every individual episode. That being on YouTube as well as Facebook. And it's a multi-level basketball platform. So if you like it, high school, if you like the collegiate level, NBA, if they're rolling around in wheelchairs, as long as it's 94 feet long and 50 feet wide, you know where to find it if the rim is 10 feet tall. So I like to call it the best, the most entertaining, the most educational, and the most informational podcast. Find that anywhere you find your favorite one. That is at Tate's Take.
There is guy Deshaun Tate in the building. Deshaun, as always, we appreciate you, brother, and we look forward to having you on next time here on the Real Talk Sports Show.
Thanks so much, Rev, and good to see you, Rod. Looking forward to seeing you again soon.
Likewise. Make it soon, man.
Everybody, listen, especially for those of you who are watching and listening, I should say listening on WIGO 1570. You know, we got to take a quick little station break, but we'll be back with more. We're going to talk some college football with the main man, Mr. Rod himself, Rob McKenzie. All right, everybody, keep it locked right here for more on the Real Talk Sports Show. Don't go away. Are you in the market for a new vehicle? Well, check out Allen Vigil Ford Lincoln in Morrow, Georgia. We have one of the largest inventories in our area for both new and pre-owned vehicles, so we're sure to have something for everyone. Family owned and operated since 1982, customer satisfaction is our number one priority. Come see our full lineup of vehicles and find the one that best fits you. Give us a call today, 678-726-5739, or shop us 24/7 online at allenvigilford.net.
This is OJ Howard with Real Talk Sports.
What's up, guys? This is Tim Tebow. You're listening to Real Talk Sports.
This is Charles Woodson. Let me grab the mic. You ready? This is Charles Woodson with Real Talk Sports. Hey, it's your boy JB Smooth with Real Talk Sports. Ha ha.
All right, we're back here at the Real Talk Sports Show. You're listening to us here as we broadcast to you on the radio on WIGO 1570 Atlanta's Incredible Radio, also on WIGOM.com. You also can catch the show either via audio or video on RealTalkSports.net. Remember, you can follow us anywhere on social media at Real Talk Sports 7. Love to have you join us. We always try to put up some good content, not only about sports, we also try to give you some inspiration as well. So, again, follow us on social media at Real Talk Sports 7. One in the building, I have a good friend of the show. He covers the Yellow Jackets of Georgia Tech. And he has been doing it for some time. Rob McKenzie, welcome back, sir. How's it looking over there at the Flats?
Well, just got an email with the Georgia Tech's version of the depth chart. They call it Above the Line. Gives you a good idea of who you're going to see in the upcoming game. I guess a lot of people have heard that they had 10 players that were out last week. On this new Above the Line, only one of those 10 players is back, so it's going to be another shorthanded week for Georgia Tech, not only in number of players, but also in preparation time, having played Saturday and then, having to come back and play again Thursday night. So going to be a tough week for the Jackets.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. When you think about, this whole COVID, where it's hit all these teams. I mean, we heard recently that probably one of the biggest rivalry games in college football, Michigan against Ohio State, has been canceled, probably done for more political reasons and some get back, more so than just the COVID alone. But I mean, it's like every week something going on. Head coach Nick Saban has tested positive not once but twice. So as far as what you're seeing around the campus of Georgia Tech, kind of what has kept them to at least be able to get enough players on the field consistently to keep playing? What have they been doing different, you think?
Yeah, they've gone to the extremes to try to keep the players safe. The way they practice, what they do when they leave practice. They're not running the streets of Atlanta. They're in their dorm rooms, staying with their roommates. And it's gotten them this far. They had a couple of weeks off where they had a couple of games postponed, but for the most part, until this past week against North Carolina State, things were going pretty smooth.
Right. It's funny you said they're not there running the streets of Atlanta. That's in some of the other sports that's been a problem. Guys either from Atlanta or they what's the word I'm looking for? Due to extracurriculars activities in Atlanta, all of a sudden, man, if they have a trip here or they have a break, they end up back in the A and COVID strikes. So it really is a kudos to the Tech program that they've been able to keep guys kind of marshaled, and kudos to the players themselves that they say, listen, man, it's not worth it, for us to go out here to not only endanger our ability to play, but potentially danger our family members who are older and could be more susceptible to the effects of the virus.
Without a doubt, and they not only felt, took care of themselves, but they also felt enough about their teammates to make sure that they didn't pass it on to them by doing something silly. And Coach Collins preaches the culture, and the culture has really taken hold at Georgia Tech. And the wins are coming a little slower than maybe some people would want, but it's pretty easy to see that they're headed in the right direction.
Well, no doubt. I mean, one thing I can tell you, they're winning the war on social media. The 404 has been everywhere on Instagram. The uniform reveal, I reposted that. It's got hundreds of views, and of course, they get thousands of views on their own page. So there's no doubt that the shift from and whenever I talk about this, I always want to, again, you guys know me, the preamble that Coach Johnson had a winning program here. Went to multiple Orange Bowls, had some ACC championships under his belt. So this is not a guy that had a program that was underwater, but certainly his style, his more like Bill Belichick type style, which can do it. We can winning, Super Bowls. Now, if he was winning national championship, you can get away with that. But people, I think, found it a breath of fresh air when Coach Jeff came to town. Brought some coaches in that had a lot of high energy. And certainly, I think you're right, Rod. I think that once he can get the players in place, Georgia Tech's going to be a formidable out in the ACC.
Yeah, the style is definitely different, as you and I both know. And the thing, it's a different age now.
Right.
And you have to keep up with the times. And he's hired a young staff. They've taken care of the social media end of the deal. And when we talk to recruits, including players that have committed elsewhere that are from Atlanta, and now they want to come back here,
right.
And we have guys transferring back to Georgia Tech. The one thing they mention is, hey, we're really aware of everything that's going on here, and we want to be a part of it. So, hey, it's working.
Yeah, there's no doubt, man. I mean, kudos to Jeff Collins. Kudos to all the guys over there. We know a gentleman that used to do a show at our station, Demo Speaks, Derek Moore, inspirational speaker for the NFL. Minister, does some great stuff, great motivational speaker, and I know he was on one of their early videos. So, yeah, man, they're just doing some big stuff there. Now, you talk about the wins and losses. Kind of just tell us a little bit up to this point what have been some of the marquee wins for the Jackets and games where they maybe didn't do as well as we expected.
Yeah, I think let's start on the dark side first. And I think probably the most disappointing loss was Syracuse.
Right.
A team that's only has one ACC win, and that is over Georgia Tech. They went up there, came out of the locker room, fired up, ready to play. And then they were pulled off the field. They were waiting to verify a couple of test results. And I'm not sure what happened between the time they went in the locker room and the time they came back out, but they were a little flat. And that led to a disappointing loss. You had a big blowout of Louisville, 63 points against Duke, the opening win against Florida State, a program that's going through some changes themselves. But the one thing that you notice is that even if they're down at the half, they always come out of that locker room in the second half. They continue to fight. continue to claw and try to get back into the game. And they really, aside from the two schools that are going to the playoffs, Notre Dame and Clemson, they really haven't been blown out of any games. They've been very competitive, and they're, like you said earlier, they're starting to add some players to the roster, and that takes a couple of years. So, I think next year they're going to start to bear the fruits of what they're doing.
Yeah, you talked about, how the impact that they're having here in the city of Atlanta. Of course, for people who are watching this from other places of the country, Atlanta has now moved ahead a couple of years ago to being now one of the top 3 places in the nation for high school recruiting, only behind Southern California and South Florida, moving ahead recently of Texas and the Dallas, Texas area. So, I mean, there's no doubt that this is a huge pool of top players from this Metro Atlanta. Matter of fact, we can think about 2 of the best quarterbacks in the land. Both of them went to Clemson, ACC schools. When you think of Deshaun Watson and you think of the young man at Clemson now, there's no doubt that this is a hotbed. Justin Fields from Ohio State. All these guys these marquee players are from Metro Atlanta, so it should bode well for Tech going forward.
Yeah, and the first big player, I'm not sure if you want to consider Dalton Atlanta, but it's, close enough. The first big player that came aboard along that vein was Jahmyr Gibbs, and he's really making a statement since he's been here, and we've seen 2 or 3 SEC players transfer back to Georgia Tech, so it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, I think there's no doubt, man. I think everybody's chomping at the bit for us to get out of this whole COVID situation and hopefully be in a spot where we can find ourselves looking at the potential of seeing once again a real rivalry game between Georgia Tech and the University of Georgia.
Yeah, and it was unfortunate because of the virus that both conferences, the way they approached everything, the ACC said, hey, we're going to play 10 conference games. We're not going to have divisions. We're going to allow you to play 1 out-of-conference game. Georgia Tech had already, signed that contract, a money contract with UCF, and they figured that was the best way to go. And, of course, the same can be said for the SEC from Georgia's angle. So some unhappy people because of that, but, the future is right around the corner. So we'll be able to see the 2 of them square off again, and that's going to be good.
No doubt, man. Like you said, again, a lot of fun. And I think that by the time they do screw off, it's probably good for Georgia Tech to have this breathing room of 1 year, giving Coach Collins another opportunity to add to his, I shouldn't say add necessarily to players, but also for his culture to take root. And you combine that with some skilled players, especially at the quarterback position, another year for the young freshman to get under his belt. Yeah, man, I think it's nothing but upside for the Jack. And I think the next year, good Lord willing, that end of the year game is going to be something.
Yeah, and I'm also looking forward to the places like the press box getting back to normal.
Right.
Seeing some of my friends that I'm missing this year because of whatever's going on, and seeing some fans in the stands, and a little off subject, but I was down at State Farm for the Kentucky basketball game, and the only people in the place were the teams, the staffs, and the media. I mean, no fans in there at all. That was really strange.
Yeah, and you talk about that, you talk about a team like Kentucky and how much fanfare we normally would have had not been to COVID, the media buzz around that game. And then, like you said, to basically get there and have nobody there is just really kind of a weird thing. So speaking of shifting to basketball really quick, so what's been the feedback you've been hearing about basketball and, what's going to happen with Tech? Are they going to be like everyone else playing with no one in the stands? Is that the game plan so far?
They're allowing 900 fans.
Okay.
And a majority of those are students. The thinking was that these students are not being able to enjoy the normal college experience
Right.
because of everything that's going on. So, hey, we want you in the stands, enjoy a basketball game, maybe at the expense of some of the fans that have been there watching games for a long time. But hey, there's nothing much you can do about it. They're trying to keep everybody safe. It's interesting to watch where they have the players that aren't in the game spaced out in the stands where the fans used to sit, and the coaches are the only ones on the floor. and there's glass partitions all over the place, and it's really a different situation, but they're making best of the situation, and so far, they've been able to play 3 games. They're on their way to Nebraska to play in the ACC Big Ten Challenge. So, knock on wood, so far so good.
Man, like I say again, I'm just, everybody's the same way, man. I think we're all excited about seeing what's going to go on, and like I said, we hopefully get back to it. We don't want to rush because we've certainly seen the impact of how the COVID's been working. That I think a lot of people kind of overdid it, and it was just put things in a bad spot. But like I said, I'm like you, man. It'd be great to see everybody again, because the realities are, life is funny. Certainly, who would have thought. Last year we were all together in the press box. Who would have thought that basically in the span of a year that we would lose 2 guys that were just staples here in Atlanta, one for football and one really for all sports, with William Peace, and then later on with the gentleman from ESPN. I'm just drawing a blank now. Oh my gosh, I see him all the time at the games on the. Oh Lord Jesus, I can't believe it. I just drew a complete utter blank. But anyway,
it comes with age, Brad.
It's too many things going on in my mind. Vaughn McClure from ESPN, so suddenly passed away at the tender age of 46. And I can remember seeing him at the Falcons games and seeing him occasionally at the Hawks games. So again, we not that we're morbid in any way, but life is life. And so we want to make sure to spend and enjoy as much time as we can with one another while we can. So I look forward to everybody getting back together as well.
No doubt about it. And like you said, you never know what's going to happen. So you got to make the best of what you're doing right now and take advantage of it.
No doubt. And that's why I thank God for this platform here, and thank God for you guys who are able to stop in like yourself. I know everybody's got very busy. There's you got something, Roger, talking about Zoom fatigue. Like everybody's having so many meetings now online, and even when we do the press conferences, I've been able to pop in not too often, but it's been really incredible because it's just everything is virtual, and it's better than nothing. But there's no doubt in my mind, I can't wait for everybody to get back to more face-to-face contact.
Yeah, we did this morning. We did Zoom calls with the football players.
Right.
This afternoon we did basketball with Coach Passner and the transfer Kyle Sturdivant. So at least we get to interact with them, even though we're not there face to face.
True. There's no doubt about that, man. Absolutely true. Well, listen, man. Again, we appreciate you stopping in and dropping by, always letting us know what's happening with the Jackets. One last thing before you go. Speaking of basketball, kind of what are the prospects for Passner and Georgia Tech? Is he in any jeopardy? I think he suffered from the same thing that we've seen with Kirby Smart to some degree. And of course, we saw it with Dan Quinn as the team kind of fell off the bridge. Too much success too early?
Yeah, could be. I think, the first 2 games of the year, he made a decision that he probably wishes he could have back. He decided, I want to get the team to the games and be safe and not have contact practice and practice the zone, which, literally runs his team. And they play terrible man-to-man defense against those 2 teams. And so he decided to go back to the way he used to practice. And they came out and dominated Kentucky with that zone. So, he's got 4 starters back, the top 2 guys off the bench. So plus Kyle Sturdivant coming in. So we'll see if they can build on what they did against Kentucky. But I think the prospects are there for them to have a decent season.
Well, again, I'm sure everybody at Georgia Tech is looking forward to it because, unfortunately, he came out of the gate, surprised everybody, got him to the NIT, and then really since then, they kind of really haven't been the same team. Now, some of that we understand. You have to have the horses. He had a better team overall then, had some go-to guys. But, I think everybody at Tech wants to see a winner.
Yeah, you got to be able to recruit with the elite programs. And this 2021 class, it's coming in next year, may be the first class that he's had, or it is the best class that he's recruited thus far. So that's going to be something to build on.
Now, has he been able to have much success recruiting in and around Atlanta? Because surprisingly, Atlanta now, the metro area, and Georgia is now starting to pick up steam as a big spot for recruits as well.
Yeah, he's players around here are starting to take notice. His number one recruit in the class came from outside Orlando, and but he's got a young man by the name of Miles Kelly who's up at Hargrave right now, but he is from the Atlanta area, and Jalen Moore from Alabama. So he's not straying too far with the type of players that he's bringing in, and I think that's going to help when the local kids take notice of who he's bringing in and how they're playing. That's going to make it easier for him to recruit.
We know how it is, brother. Everybody loves a winner. So if they can find a way to get back to what they did a few years ago, making some noise in the ACC tournament, getting to the at least to the NITs or possibly into the big dance, there's no doubt that the young men will be able to want to come here. Listen, man, we know, like I said again, your schedule's busy. We always do it. Let people know how they can find out more about you, social media, website, and as usual, the floor is yours.
Thanks. Appreciate it. I got it this time. We're at gojackets.com on the 247 network, the number one recruiting network in the country. We cover all athletic events at Georgia Tech. We cover recruiting interviews, and we'd like to have everyone come aboard and ride with us and talk Georgia Tech sports.
Well, like I said, brother, we appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule to join us. And you heard that, guys. If you want to know what's going on with your jackets, you know where to go. Check this guy out, gojacks.com. Rod McKenzie in the building. Rod, good to see you as always, man.
All right. Stay healthy.
All right. Take care. That's Rod McKenzie. We want to give a big shout out to him and everybody over there at Georgia Tech Nation, and a big shout out to you guys, and especially a big shout out to those of you who are listening on WIGO 1570, because we got to go. We appreciate all those of you who have been listening to us on that platform and on WIGOAM.com. And, until the next time, we'd like to do it. Oh, we can't sign off without giving props and kudos to the man behind the glass. You can't see him, Eli Smith. Check him out also, because besides being a producer of our program, he also does a morning show every day, Monday through Friday, with the exception of Wednesday, called the Eli Smith Show. Brings the best in gospel music from old school to contemporary gospel. He's been a legend here in the Atlanta area for years in the gospel market, so you guys got to check him out. Again, on WIGO 1570, Atlanta's Incredible Radio, or WIGOM.com. So let me slow it down, on WIGOAM.com, or on the TuneIn Radio app. It's real simple. It's a free app. Download it on your phone. Put WIGO 1570 in the search engine, and voila, you will find us broadcasting to you right then and there. All right, everybody, until the next time when we have you on again, remember, if you don't know Jesus Christ, your personal Savior, please, ma'am, please, sir, get to know him today, because nobody loves you like Jesus, and that is your way into the kingdom of heaven. Until the next time, God bless you, and have a great night. All right, everybody, keep it locked right here on social media. We're going to take a little tiny break, and then we'll be back with more, because we're going to tell you some breaking news about what the minister might be doing away from sports that you might want to be taking a listen and a watch to. All right, we'll be back with more in just a moment. Hold on. Are you in the market for a new vehicle? Well, check out Allen Vigil Ford Lincoln in Morrow, Georgia. We have one of the largest inventories in our area for both new and pre-owned vehicles, so we're sure to have something for everyone. Family owned and operated since 1982, customer satisfaction is our number one priority. Come see our full lineup of vehicles and find the one that best fits you. Give us a call today, 678-726-5739, or shop us 24/7 online at allenvigilford.net. Yeah, guys, again, check out Allen Vigil Ford. They were our sponsor for high school football. We're very appreciative of them, all the stuff that they did. They are located in Morrow, Georgia. Matter of fact, 6790 Mount Zion Boulevard in the city of Morrow, Georgia. Cool thing is you can shop them online 24/7 at allenvigilford.net. Or guess what? Even better, if you want a car for yourself or your family, guess what? You can have me, your own personal assistant for your new vehicle. I'll be more than happy to help you over at Allen Vigil Ford. You can call me directly at 678-410-9833. Again, I'll be your personal concierge. I'll take great care of you, your family member, or if you need a vehicle for your business. Again, you can give me a call, 678-410-9833. Love to help you. Well, listen, guys, we got some stuff going on here away from the sports realm. For those of you who don't know, I am an actual live, for real minister. I didn't get it from a soapbox didn't get it by mail. I actually am a licensed minister with the National Baptist Convention, and served on staffs for years before I came in Atlanta. And I do a ministry show every Wednesday morning called the Clarion Call Broadcast. You check it out on Facebook Live, or you can go to, again, WIGO 1570. But, you know, I've been thinking over the years that people need to get kind of a different perspective in the world of spirituality, and I hate to use this term, religion, as well. So we want to talk about some trending topics, even things a little bit provocative as well. And I'm going to bring a young lady on that is going to be assisting with me on this. She is live in Houston right now. Miss Ariel, are you there?
I am here.
There she is, guys. So you were only seeing the avatar because it's a late night here, and we kind of scrambled her on the last minute. So you know how the ladies are. They said, no, I will be there virtually by voice only. So,
right, that whole part. I said, well, I want to definitely come on live with you, but I got to get my whole life together if I'm going to be on live.
well, you know, that's how the ladies do it. Well, one of the things that we're going to do, though, tomorrow, we're going to do a pop-up show, and it's basically SLR.
Right.
Y'all say, what's it? SLR? What
SLR.
SLR stands for those three things that you people said you would love to talk about: sex, love, and relationships. That's right. Sex, love, and relationships. The minister will be talking to you about these things along with Ariel. And
I love how you said that, Ariel.
Right. We're going to keep it real. I mean, we are going to talk to you about these things that you want to talk about. People are always having problems with relationships. Contrary to popular belief, people are having sex both legally and illegally.
That whole part.
Speaking, that is. All right. And that's just the way it is. I mean, people also want love. I mean, the realities is that people want to have a situation where they are able to freely give love and freely receive love. So we're going to talk about all these types of things, and we're going to try to talk to you about it in a context that hopefully we think is a little bit different from a Christian, for lack of a better term, or a spiritual concept, because I think a lot of people don't know, Ariel, there's a great spiritual connection with love.
Yes, there is. And that connection is even more powerful than the physical realm. And when you think about sex, you should first think about, do I want to spiritually connect with this person?
Yeah, because I think a lot of people don't know that it's actually biblical. The Bible talks about the fact that the reason why God did not want people to do this except under the covenant of marriage is, he said, because don't you know that when you hook up, that you and that person literally become one flesh.
One.
Y'all like united, not just physically, but you didn't realize that part of your inner man and inner woman has now connected.
That whole part. And the thing about it is, I like to add to that. So even in the Bible, it says that you are one in the union of a marriage. And that's why God designed it for that. But of course, me included, we don't wait. We don't wait. So we connect to every being that we decide to have sex with spiritually.
Just saying. And so that, listen, that will happen because here's the thing I think that we are not honest with ourselves about. I think that we don't really understand the power of the draw of the sexual urges of individuals. Now you said, Minister, we on the sports show. That's why folks just making a little announcement. We're about to get off the air. Don't worry. Don't panic. Don't panic. But the realities are, listen, guys, if you think that this doesn't connect to sports, you're wrong, because think about how many of your favorite players, mostly male, but now even some female, have had their careers either interrupted, sidetracked, or more importantly, their reputations damaged because of a relationship, usually sexual, that created a problem. So that's it. Up. Look, she just hit the screen, boys.
I decided to come on
live
screen.
in person. There we go. So that's it.
So yeah, I mean, the thing about it is that sex is natural, and hey, I'm a sports fan. You know, big up to the Saints. But this is something that also needs to be talked about.
Take it easy about them Saints.
Oh, Falcons fan, Falcons.
Just saying.
Hey, I'm not mad at the Falcons. That's how we met. I was at the Essence NFL Super Bowl party.
That is correct, Mundo. That's right. That
So
was the initial.
Falcons, they did their thing that year. I was rooting y'all on because I'm not a Patriots fan. Sorry, Patriots, not sorry. But yeah.
But at the end of the day, it worked out well. And again, it is, and that's why we are going to talk about. Again, we're not going to talk about too much on this show, guys.
Sure.
But again, we wanted to let you know that that's what's coming up. SLR. So you guys keep it locked.
Sex,
Stay tuned.
love, and relationships.
That's right. That's what we're going to be talking about. And we're going to deal with this thing because, like I said, again, it is something that we need to talk about. People run from it. Oftentimes, especially in church, we run from it. But it is something that is talked about throughout the Bible, the idea of men and women getting together. Both properly and improperly. And so we want to discuss those issues. And we want to talk about also love. We want to talk about the fact that people are yearning love. And especially in this time, Ariel, right, with the COVID, people can't get together. They can't touch anymore. In some cases, they can't really connect. And people are missing that loving connection.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And, the love in this world is so important, right? Whether it's the love of sport, whether it's the love in relationships with your friends, family, or your significant other, love is so important. And to be in a space where we're not able to physically touch, hey, we can't even physically go to a game. Like, whoever thought? It's unbelievable. And I know we're all just like, whether we want the vaccine or not, we're like, let's just let this be over so we can get some normalcy going.
Yes, real talk. People really want to get to time and place where they can really kind of just get back to normal. I know people are chomping at the bit, but we're going to cross the non-normal tomorrow night. 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Ariel is real.
Right. Ariel is real. And the Minister Jay will be in the building. That's yours truly. And we're going to chop it up. And here's the thing, Ariel, you're going to have some questions. We're going to put some stuff together so people can kind of join in this pop-up. Is that right?
Yeah. So you're going to have 10 to 20 seconds to tell us what you want to talk about related to sex, love, and relationships. And within that, you can say you want to talk about cheating, marriage, who knows, menage a trois. Oh my God, did I say that?
Up. Now, listen, we will tell you guys. I mean, now you say, oh, Minister, how can you talk? The realities is that there's all types of things going on. Now I will tell you, we're going to keep it within the context of, something clean. We're not going to get FCC violations here.
Absolutely
we're not going to do that. And we will tell you that
I'm a Christian woman. I'm practicing celibacy myself. But it's important we have this conversation for our girls, for our young girls and boys. It's important that we get uncomfortable to get comfortable so we are informed about our bodies and so that we can connect on a spiritual, mental, and physical level. And I think this is the start.
So, guys, I'm just telling you, we're going to chop it up. That is going to be tomorrow night. That will be it will be from 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 8 p.m. Central Time, and we're going to talk about SLR. That is going to be sex, love, and relationships. Put it right here up on the screen for you. Bang. That's what we're talking about. SLR. Yay! That will be tomorrow night, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So keep it locked right here because we're going to talk about it. And I'm going to have Ariel Zwiel. And the Minister Jay will be in the building along with her. And guys, we're going to try to do something like OG, millennial. We're trying every age bracket. We're going to let you kind of come on and talk about your sensibilities. And then we're going to actually do this. We're going to kind of look at some scriptures where you're going to see in the Bible where, sex has its role, good, the bad, the ugly. We're going to talk about all of that. So
absolutely. Absolutely.
Guys.
All right. Thank you so much for having me come on. And I'm so excited that we're introducing the premiere of our show tomorrow. It's going to be a great time. And I'm tuning into these sports too. So we can dibble and dabble in a little bit of that as well.
No, like I say again, guys, because the SLR is people dealing with it in the world of sports as well. So that's why we decided to do this separate show. You guys don't have to worry about it. I just wanted to announce it tonight. So hopefully those of you, if you enjoy me kind of, doing my thing here, that you'll tune into that as well. Again, that's tomorrow night at 9 p.m. and I'll announce that as well. Ariel, listen, I know you are a busy woman, but we appreciate you dropping in to see us and being able to announce that We got some new things going on.
Hey, big things popping, little things dropping.
Ooh, there you go, right there. And one more time, I'm gonna pop it up on the screen if you want to see it. Tomorrow night is simply called SLR, Sex,
SLR.
Love, and Relationships. Right here.
All
with
right,
yours
you
truly
all.
and Miss Adiel. All right, until tomorrow night, take it easy.
Peace.
Bye.
Bye.
All right, guys. So that's what we got going on. Just want to let you know that tomorrow night we're going to be dealing into that situation, and hopefully you guys will find that not only entertaining, educational, hopefully enlightening, and even maybe empowering. Who knows? But it's SLR tomorrow night, 9 p.m. I'll make the announcement again on social media so you guys might see it. Well, we got to go for sure. We appreciate all those of you who have watched the broadcast on every platform, whether it been on Facebook Live, YouTube. Big shout out to those who've been watching on Zilly Play, on Periscope. We appreciate you. Thank you so much for watching. Again, please follow us anywhere on social media. Let me pop that up here. You can find us here on Real Talk Sports, the number 7. That's you find us on social media, or you can follow me personally at Minister J. Sim. We greatly appreciate that. Please follow me. We try to put some inspirational stuff up there, as well as just breaking news, sports news, all kinds of stuff. Also, check out our YouTube page. You can find us there on YouTube at Real Talk Sports TV. So go ahead and check us out there as well. So please, guys, we appreciate it. Like I said, just tune in and join us if you can. We'd love to have you. We're in a little different spot today. Instead of the lockdown living room, we are in the Motivated Man Cave. That's where we're at today, the Motivated Man Cave. And we appreciate all those of you who have watched us, and we thank you again for watching. Listen, if you don't know Jesus Christ, your personal Savior, I want to tell you guys, please, man, please, sir, get to know him today. Why? Nobody loves you like Jesus. Not your mom, not your auntie, not grandmama and them, not your bae, not your boo, not your BFF, not your ride and die, not your ride and live, not your partner, not your girl, not your guy, not your homeboy, homegirl, nobody. Why? Because nobody loves you like Jesus. Because number one, he made us. Believe it or not, everything that's made, that you see and don't see, is made through Jesus Christ. He's the Word made flesh. Number two, he died and paid the ultimate sin for us in the most horrific way possible, death on the cross. But the good news about that is that he tacked with him all of our sins. The penalty has been paid. So all the stuff that we've done, bad stuff, sinful stuff, before, now, and even in the future, has been taken care of. How? Simply this. We repent of our sins, tell God we've been doing it all wrong, believe that Jesus made that one-time atonement, good for all and forever, and then go tell somebody. And voila, you know what happens? You have been what we call born again. Two things. Number one, you have become a full-blown citizen of the kingdom of heaven, and you also become an adopted child of God with all the rights therein, including the ability to go directly to God whenever your problems, any of your concerns, any of your prayers. You can even call him Father, Daddy, all those terms of endearment. You can call him because he is. And the good thing is, not only does that allow you to live a life well lived here upon the earth, but also, cool thing is, you're able to enter the kingdom of heaven when you die. And heaven is spectacular. You talk about bling, man. Every jewel you can think of is there in heaven on every building you can think of. Matter of fact, the streets themselves are paved with a gold that is so pure, it's translucent. Even the gates of the city itself, 12 of them to be exact, are all made of one giant pearl. Bam. And guess what there won't be? No more pain. No more pandemics. No more people with bad intent or evil of any type. No more persecution. No more problems. Instead, we get a chance to hang out with nothing but good people and see God and Jesus, mighty Yeshua HaMashiach, up close and personal. And we avoid that bad place called H-E double hell. All the things that I talked about that won't be in heaven will be there. Bad people, pain, sorrow, darkness, terrible, and you can't get out. I don't know about you. I like door number one and not door number two. All right, guys, listen, I love you so much. Appreciate you again. Thank you for watching, especially those of you watching on the replay on Periscope, those of you watching on demand on YouTube, and those of you who have watched on any of the group pages I've shared. We appreciate all those of you, the sports pages that allowed me to do it. Also appreciate the Brian McMahon page. That's where I grew up. That's where I graduated from back in high school in Norwalk. Also appreciate those of you who let me put this on the Washington Village Reunion page. That's where I grew up as a youngster. And all the other pages, SU2 Royalty, Friends of Clayton County, the Hawks pages, Eagles Landing Business District, all these places, Live from New York, Blackonomics, all those groups that let me share. Thank you. Thank you so much. Again, thank you for watching. God bless you. Again, follow us anywhere on social media at Real Talk Sports, the number 7, or on Minister J. Sim. Again, Minister J. Sim is me personally. Real Talk Sports 7 is the show. All right, until next week, guys, God bless you and have a marvelous day. So long.